Yo, good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning for me, but anyways, it's your boy Skywalker OG on 420. Let's go. I'm gonna do a little quick commander guide. I'm gonna probably break this down into sections and do another video on top of well, not on top of this one, but behind this one, because this is probably gonna take a little bit of time, and I don't want to make it too long. But so this is going to be a free-to-play section of my commander guide. First off, I'm going to start off with my opinion on the best pairing for archers, cavalry, and infantry for free-to-play. For cavalry, I believe Pelagius and Belisarius is the best paired together for cavalry. Infantry, I was knocking him at the beginning, and that's why he's so low. But I've seen the reports, I've seen the videos on the maxed one. This man, with this man, maxed out, is an insane infantry combo for a free-to-play player. Archers. If I had to go free to play on archers, I would personally recommend a Herman followed up with an Osman. A Herman and Osman are gonna be amazing together. Now I'm not gonna go into too much detail on why. What I'm gonna do is actually level up these guys throughout the next couple weeks, and then I'm gonna put up some battle reports and some actual battles and show you why these guys are so amazing together. But as of right now, I'm just gonna make those opinions, put them out there, and you can fill them out on your own. Now, Boudica, in my opinion, on starting out as a free-to-play player, you would want to get a Scipio or Boudica because they are the two most versatile champions in the game for a free-to-play player. You have Boudica, she can go peacekeeping, she can go skill damage, she'll heal you, she'll do damage. She's a very well-rounded commander for the early game. And same goes with Scipio. They also pair well with any other commander. Really, any other commander, they're universal. Same with Osman, he's pretty universal. But Boudica, she can go with just about anybody. Uji, you want to put with another infantry commander or Scipio? Scipio, like I said, he's universal. You can put him anywhere. Lohar, he's PvE. Don't use him PvP. There's no point in it. He's not good. Period. He's not. Don't do it. Don't do it. Joan's okay on the battlefield for support, so she can go like a Scipio, a Caesar, Boudica, so she can pop off a lot more AoE heals and things like that. But I don't. Well, AoE buffs, but I don't personally use her, and I don't recommend using her. And like I said, Pelagius, my boy Pelagius, I think for an epic commander, he's the best. For cavalry, him followed up with Belisarius. But he'll also work with Moto, he'll also work with Cao, he'll also work with Belisarius. I mean, Belisarius would be my last pick to put him with, because that just means you have a really fast march. All you're doing is sniping out farms or something like that. You're not really going to be able to fight in the battlefield with it. Osman, like I said, he's universal. He can go with just about any other commander you want to throw him into. But him backing up Herman is an amazing archer's march. Kusanoki's pretty good, but I think he shines on your garrison, to be honest. Out on the battlefield, I don't think he's that great, but if you were going to pair him, you could pair him with the Sun Tzu and do like a glass cannon for archers, or you could put him with El Cid, you could put him with ISG, you could put him with any of the archer pairings. They would do okay. but like I said, I wouldn't really use him out on the battlefield. Sun Tzu to me is like the glass cannon. Unless you put him with Scipio and bring up his defenses, Sun Tzu is like a glass cannon. Him and YSG wreck shop. But they're like a glass cannon. Like I said, I mean, you could throw him in the mix with any AoE commander, and he's gonna do well. But once you're surrounded, it's not gonna do too much. It's not gonna do too good. But I have seen and what I mean by surrounded is if you're a smart player, you don't stand in front of a Sun Tzu. Whoever's tanking the Sun Tzu, you want your team to tank it, and then you want to surround the outer edges of his fan, so only one person's getting hit by that AoE. I know people are like, oh yeah, then you can just switch targets on him. Cool, whatever. You're still not hitting 3, 4, however many marches we have stacked on you. You're only switching to that one target. Everybody else is going to keep moving. As you move, they're going to move. So your AoE is not going to do as much. However, with that said, Sun Tzu and YSG are amazing at rallying cities, because when people try to go to that rally or to that structure, it's going to hit them as they go to that structure. Your fan's going to be popping off, hitting them, and your AoE is going to be hitting them. When they're trying to fight you, your AoE is going to be hitting them, unless they come up behind you. But still, your AoE is going to be hitting them as they enter the structure. Either way, it's going to be awesome. They're very nice together. Herman, as I said, Herman, Osman together, I think it's the best archer, free-to-play archer pairing. Herman can also work well with Kusunoki. Herman works very well with El Cid. But I mean, if you have El Cid, you probably have YSG, you're probably spending. I mean, if you have Knights. But either way, then we have Belisarius. Belisarius is, to me, like a snipe group. You just send him out of the castles real quick, boom, you hit somebody, you run away, you go kill farms, whatever. He's just really fast. He's now like the king of mobility. He's amazingly fast. But he can work well with Babers. He can work well with Pelagius. He can work well with Minamoto. He can work well with Salso. Any of the really any of the cavalry commanders. But he also works well with Osman and Scipio. Babers, I don't recommend running him primary. I mean, you can if you want to, if that's what you choose to max out first. But the reason why I say I wouldn't recommend running him primary, because if you have him, you should be pairing him with Pelagius to run Pelagius Babers. That is an amazing free-to-play combo for cavalry. Now I'm gonna say a little bit about the commanders and how you would know when to send which commander with who. So the thing is, you don't like. Alright, obviously I'm not gonna be fighting. I'm sending out my Moto Sao even though they're really high. If I see a group that has 2 Charles Richards in it, I'm not gonna run into that group with 2 Charles Richards in it. There's no point. Not unless I see a glass cannon down there. Then I'm gonna jump on that glass cannon, get my kills, and get the heck out of there. I'm not gonna fight a Charles Richard. That's counter to the march. So that situation, obviously, you want to send a different commander, and that's the whole thing about this game. All your commanders are situational. None of them are really like. You know, you can't say, oh, this is the best commander, period. No, it's not how it works. Yeah, it might do the highest damage, but it's not going to be the best in every situation. So remember, your calves, you want to be like 1v1, or you want to go into fight glass cannons, you want to go into fight smaller groups, you want to go into fight anything that's not a tank. and then you want to get out. That's the whole purpose of a cavalry march. The whole thing I see with archers are like an AoE type deal and control. So like you could throw them into a group, like El Cid and YSG is the best archers commanders together, and El Cid is a control. He pushes them back. YSG does a lot of AoE. So that's the purpose that I see in archers. And infantry is just to support the group. They're to tank and support the group, to keep the group from being focused. You want to keep making people mad at you that you're just there with a full march hitting them, that they all focus you, while all the rest of your cavalry and archers go on them and destroy them. Alright, so this is what I mean by situational. You gotta read the battlefield and know what you're gonna do here. But on your commanders, how you know when to pair who with who is, I told you all the pairings that you could do. You should really know all the pairings, because it's pretty obvious the commanders that go best together, the commanders that have similar skills together, or one that's gonna, you know, give your march a little bit of health, and then one that's gonna nuke. So as long as they play well together and their stats look well together, they look like they're gonna do good together, they pretty much will probably do good together. And the reason why I'm saying that is because obviously there's the optimal marches, which I've told you what they are. But I tell you this because if you have, say, a Pelagius Babers, and I've said that's the best free-to-play epic commander march, and you believe me 100%, so you focus on this. Well, you have I have a 5-5-5-2 Pelagius, and then I go down here to my Babers. My Babers is only 5-5. I haven't even unlocked anything else on him. It's just 5-5. So I have that, or I have a Austin at 5-5-5-1. Okay, why would I use my Babers? Why would I use my Babers? There would be no point in using my Babers, because my Osman here gives me more stats into my army for having that third skill maxed out, or using my Salsa, because he has obviously more skills. That's giving me more buffs into my march. Now that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Because if I have this at 5-3-3-3 or 5-4-2-2 or something like that, I'm gonna choose him and Scipio, or him and Sun Tzu, or him and Richard, whoever I have over him. Just because he's maxed doesn't mean that he's better. You have to do a little bit of thinking and a little bit of math to see the differences of the buffs, and do a little bit of testing, which that's going to come in a later video. I'm actually going to show you what I know on the proofs on this, what I've seen, but I'm going to actually do it myself and battle with people and show you these things. But yeah, it's always going to be whichever ones you have the most buffs on. So it's kind of hard to decide if you want to send this commander over this commander. But then again, sometimes it's cut and dry. Like at this point, he's maxed. He's 5-2-1-2. It's cut and dry. Ujimundo. Now, whenever he gets a little bit closer to max, and he's like 5-4-3 or 5-3-3-3 or something like that, yeah, then I'm gonna use Charles. But at the time being, he's nowhere near Uji, so there's no point in using him. That's the main thing you gotta remember whenever you're pairing your commanders. And if you don't have the most optimal pairing with the highest talents or skills, then, and you're a free-to-play player, that's why I say max out these guys. Because you max them too, or Osman, and you can throw them into any march. Then you can focus on your specialty troops, your Pelagius, your Babers, your Hermans, whatever you want to focus on, you can focus on them afterwards. But that's why you have a universal commander, because they can go into any other march and you'll do well until you get the rest of your commanders up to date. I mean, you're not going to be smashing any faces on no legendary commanders, but you can hold your own and you can support your team, and you can be a lot more optimal than somebody that's like, oh no, I'm gonna focus my specialty period right off the bat. I don't care what you say. I'm just gonna get these guys, and then they got a 5-5, 5-2 Pelagius coming up onto the battlefield with a 5-5 Babers. Yeah, cool, man. But whenever somebody walks up to you and they got a maxed out Pelagius because they were able to just focus him, and a maxed out universal commander, yeah, dude, he's gonna smash you in the face, and then your troops are gonna go home with a little sad face over their head. So just keep in mind the kind of commander rules of thumb. Don't level up your commander until you get this first skill maxed up. I recommend don't level them up at all until you get the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one maxed up. But really, it's the first skill. The first skill is the main one. Make sure that you get it maxed before you level them up. Look at your commander's skills, what their buffs are, before you go out onto the battlefield. Obviously, you want to go with the best commander pairings first. But second, after you do that secondary checklist, look at the secondary commander that could be backing up that march. Instead of, Pelagius, Belisarius being the best, look at that secondary guy. Do you have that secondary guy that Babers, or I'm sorry, Pelagius, Babers are the best? Do you have that Belisarius that may be able to back up that march quite a bit higher than your Babers? Then use it. You always want to use the one that brings more to the table for you at the time. It's not just what you want to use. It's not like, oh man, this guy's cool, I'm going to use him. No. Bring what brings to the table the battle. What brings damage, what brings buffs, what helps out your march the best. And I mean, that's pretty much it on commanders. I'm going to do a little bit more of a detailed on whenever I get these battles up on all of this information.